I'm Kiwi,
And I'm Jarad.
and we are the two gentlemen coming to you so hot and sweaty. How are you, Jarad?
Yeah, no, I've got a shirt on, unlike you, but I'm kind of happy the recording isn't working, or maybe it should be working. Maybe we'll get more fans. You're yeah, you're above your neck down, shoulder muscles are looking wonderful, mate. Thank you for brightening my day.
You should see me from the waist down, Jarad.
I'll wait for that one.
So we're
No, I'm good,
amidst
mate.
a heat wave,
Oh,
everybody. Just so you know the context of why I don't have clothes on right now. It is so hot, and it's really, really early in the morning.
it's crazy. It's crazy, but aircon's on already. So yeah.
But how are you,
Welcome to
Jarad? Sorry, buddy.
Australia. No, I'm good, mate. I'm good. What am I doing? What's been happening? Oh, I hurt myself doing something. I don't know. I just jumped for a ball at basketball and got hurt, but that's all right. That's not too bad. I got all the scans back, and my ankle is intact. It's surprising how easy it is to hurt yourself when you get older.
So what actually happened?
In short, I just jumped for a ball at basketball, so my amazing leaping ability of 30 centimeters. Um, it, I don't know, as I jumped, it just felt something click or move or something in my ankle, just below my ankle bone, and wasn't excruciating, but it was not a nice feeling. And then the next day and the days thereafter, it was pretty bad. I couldn't put any weight on it, and I'm like, oh, I've done something bad here, and it turns out I haven't, so maybe I'm just a sook. So I don't know what's happened. I've got some physio stuff to sort of work through, but it turns out everything's connected. So that's good. No surgeries, nothing like that. But it felt really bad, and it felt like I was in trouble. But just it's not that bad. So I don't know. I don't know. Like I said, I thought my pain threshold was pretty good, but maybe not.
But look, you did something that you've done probably 20 billion times in your life, which is just jump.
Yeah.
And wow, this is aging, isn't it?
Oh, it's incredible, isn't it? It's just a no contact injury, nothing, just all me, just jumping. And I think the tires are getting a bit flat, or the tires are getting a bit worn.
Yeah.
Maybe, that's probably why. But I think was it Father Time gets us all, I guess, at some point, and we have to stop
Exactly.
being as active and trying to change it up a little bit and be active in different ways. So but I mean, look, I'm nowhere near that yet, but it was just a bit of a wake up call, I guess. Oh, wow, that's very easily done.
Yeah.
How about yourself, mate? How you been?
I've been pretty good, as well as I can be at the moment. It's been really hot, and my family and I, we've swum every single day over summer. I don't think there was one day I didn't swim, but other than that, I can't remember not swimming. So it's been a really active time. So summer's over now, but this heat wave is more intense than anything we had over summer. And I'm off snorkeling today with my eldest son, which will be really nice. I've been good overall. I've been getting more physical. I've been training with a friend of mine, Dave. We've been sparring, and it's been really nice to get back into combat sports. It's been a long time, and it's really nice to feel that progress. So, I've done 2 training sessions with him since I got back from holidays. And the first one, I was so rusty. The second one, I was so much better. So it's nice to feel that.
Be nice to keep that improvement going, and you'll be fighting in no time.
Yeah, back to what I was.
Don't jump. Stay on the ground. Oh man, but yeah. So what do you got planned for this show, mate? I'm coming in blind here. What do you got planned?
Well, I don't have plans, but we had a really interesting situation when we were on holidays where we had fantastic time. We packed up on time. Everything went great. Drove to a lovely location, had a swim in the ocean, drove to another location, had a swim in the lake to clean off in a freshwater lake. Done. Perfect. On schedule to get back to Sydney by 3:00 in the afternoon. I go over a pothole on the way home. It was so dark on this road. you know, when you're weaving through particular roads and there's trees everywhere, so there's shadows all over the road, it's harder to see.
Yeah.
Went over a pothole and shredded a tire on our trailer. So nothing had happened once I went over. It was just one of those bumps. And I was like, oh, okay, you know, that was pretty brutal on the car. You know, pulled up somewhere for lunch, didn't take notice of anything, get to the freeway, and we hear these bumps. And, you know, sometimes roads can be a bit uneven. And I just assumed it was a road. Erica's like, what's that? And I said, oh, I think it's just the road. And then she looked out the window. She said, the tire's shredded. There's black stuff going everywhere. And I was like, oh, no. So I pull over.
Oh, wow.
There's barely any tire left. Now I know what the inside of a tire looks like.
A learning moment.
But we borrowed the trailer off our father-in-law, and he'd just recently taken the spare tire off for some reason. So we had no spare.
Of course.
Also, even if we did have a spare, a couple of years back, we had a flat tire on a hill, and the car was tilted, and I tried to jack the car on a hill. Didn't work. It broke our jack. So we didn't have a jack anyway in the car. And I was like, yeah, I need to buy a jack. Never got around to it. It's one of those things where you're like, I'll do it next time. So it was 34 degrees. We're on the side of the highway. Trucks are zooming past. And there I am with two kids calling up roadside assist. They come along and they're like, you know, it's Saturday afternoon, nothing's open. We can't, you know, get you another tire or anything like that. Of course, a spare from the car won't fit because the wheels are different. So it was quite a situation that we found ourselves in. Long story short, we ended up having to leave the trailer at a petrol station. You know where the old Uluru was? So we left the trailer at that petrol station. It got towed there. Fortunately, I had full road cover, so they took the trailer for us, left it there. Then, when we were about to follow the tow truck, we had a flat battery from leaving the hazards on for 2 hours.
Of course. Yeah.
And the thing is, like, only 5 minutes before we were about to take off, I'd already started the car and just moved it forward to give the tow truck some space to get in. And then that was it. That was the last bit of juice. So we had to wait even more time. The tow truck driver put through the call for us to NRMA, but he didn't put it through properly. So we were waiting for half an hour when nothing was happening. I said, oh, Erica, we should probably call them just to check it's gone through. It didn't. Within like 10 minutes of us calling them, they sent out a vehicle, which was really good. You know, boosted us. We drove out there. Yeah, couldn't take the trailer, of course. Just took the few essentials out of it just in case it got robbed overnight. And then we went home without the trailer, which meant it created a whole situation for us. We had two kids in the car for, 2 hours or so on the side of the road in blistering heat. And then I had to drive another round trip of 400 kilometers the next day to pick up the trailer with my father-in-law. And you think, what a disaster. But you know what? There were so many good things to come out of that. Firstly, to see my kids stand tall in a moment like that and not lose it. They were so composed. Just the life lesson that came out of it. They were both like, yep, this is what happens in life. Things go wrong and you've just got to deal with it. That was beautiful to watch them do that and to see it in practice. Now, let's just say it went for a bit longer than that. Who knows how they would have coped, but they did really, really well. And then the next day, I was expecting my father-in-law to just drop off a jack and a spare tire for me. And then I'd be on my way and drive up there. He came upstairs and just said, no, I'm coming with you. But, it's his trailer. He wanted to come along. I was like, wow. And anyway, it turned out to be this amazing bonding moment for my father-in-law and me. It was lovely. It was 2 hours and 15 minutes each way. So 4.5 hours of chatting to someone nonstop. Like, guys can't talk like that. It's very rare for two guys to be able to just talk for that long. And, obviously he's a much older person than me. He's almost 80. Two completely different generations, but he's into so many different interesting things. He's like, oh, have you heard of this author? I'm like, no, tell me about it. And he's like, well, and then he just goes on about something I'd never heard of. And he's just teaching me stuff for 4.5 hours. And it was a really nice moment. And I didn't shirk on the importance of the moment. I used the word bonding. I said, it's been really nice to have this bonding experience with you because, we've never talked like that before. And it was a really good opportunity for him to be able to share some of his wisdom that he's picked up over the course of his extremely long life. So look, wasn't great having a shredded tire, wasn't great having to drive an extra 400 kilometers and burn up more petrol and all that sort of stuff. But you know what? Some great things came out of it, and I looked at the positives.
Yep. That's yeah, look, it's a great way of looking at an experience. I mean, all those things that have gone wrong could they could be the straw that breaks the camel's back, like to have the tire, then have to sit there, then the flat battery, and then they failed to go through the call, and then having to drive back, and but it's nice to know that you could take a learning experience out of a learning experience or growth opportunity, I guess, out of a disaster or an experience you weren't happy about at the time, I guess. I still remember going up north, same part of the world, and there's this part on I don't know what the road's called anymore, whether it's called the F3 or the motorway, basically, the M1, whatever it is now. It was the F3, and there's this bit around Central Coast where you go down. It's sort of known as the Big Dipper, and you go down and you go over this bridge, and the scenery, like, you're so high, and the scenery, this really big bridge, and it's sort of like got the wind socks, so it's sort of like a high wind area. It just sort of sticks in my mind. But as you go up from that, it's quite a steep, quite a steep hill down, but it's also quite a steep hill up. And I remember we were driving an old Valiant, a 1970 something Valiant when I was a kid. I wasn't driving, obviously, but when I was in the back seat, and we got a flat tire going up that hill, doing about 110. and the car was at flat stick. And I remember it. It still sticks in my, every time I drive past there, and I drive quite regularly, I get this like shiver, because it must have been such a stressful experience for our parents. Like that whole being on the side of the road with the, like you sort of mentioned, the truck zooming past from, you're one lane away from a car doing 110 kilometers an hour, and you got kids floating around, and there was nowhere to go. Excuse me. And I just remember Dad trying to change this tire on a hill, unpacking the whole back of the car to get to the tire. Like, it was just an experience, similar. And it's stuck with me. Like, that was, oh geez, 35 years ago. Like, and I can still remember it, and I can still kind of remember the fear, like the anxiety around that, and to this day, still think, every time I pack a car, like, I got to make a bit of room for the tire, because in my head as a kid, it was the worst thing in the world to pull out all that stuff from the boot and get the tire, like, so I'm like, I got to make sure I'll be able to get to the tire if I have it. And, it sort of stuck with me to make sure my tires, my spare tires, and I have jacks, and I have everything in the car that are all working. So learning experience from when I was like 5 or 6, like, it was, pretty amazing. But, look, they stick with them. Now your kids are going to remember that time, that's how we learn things in life. You said that they, you don't know how they would have gone if it was a longer period, but, I'm sure they would have been fine. And, there might be time in the future where they're either, with friends and this happens, and they'll use that experience, or if they're on their own, they'll use the experience that, you taught them by just doing what you did, and the experiences that they gain from being there to get them through that problem. So I think it's a bonus. And then, touching on just briefly touching on your experience, with your father-in-law. I mean, how good's that? As you said, men don't do that, and that's when I have the best conversations. Is like when you're trapped in a car and you've got to travel, 3 hours. Sometimes you jump in a car and you're like, I'll give you a lift there, or we'll go there and that, and then you're like, I actually don't know this person very well, and I'm going to be sitting in a confined space for 3 hours. If the radio's not working, it's going to be silent. So, but it usually turns out okay. But it's pretty cool. You get to know people, and quite recently I did that. I drove home with a person from Canberra, and I didn't know him very well, but by the end of the trip, we're mates. So how was that?
That is lovely. That's really nice to hear.
Yeah.
And
sorry,
right,
we went off a little bit, but
No. Look, we're sharing experiences, and that's what this is all about. What I loved about what my kids went through was I was able to tell them, you can take this anywhere you go and know that you can handle things. Like, it's almost like a weapon. You've got this skill, whatever it is training, that you've got for the rest of your life. So when you come up against anything hard, you can just think back to this moment and just go, wow, I've already been through something like this. It wasn't that bad. I got through it. I'll get through this too.
Anything is easier when you've experienced something similar before. So you said, you're training, you just started training. The first one was bad. The second one was better because you got used to what you were coming up against. You had a little bit of a insight as to what that session was going to be the second time around, and then the third time, then the fourth time, and it'll all get better. So same thing, like I said, if it happens again in the future, there'll be an automatic. Well, they've learned something, and you automatically click to that. You'll be like, okay, NRMA, get to the side of the road. Let's move away from the road. Like it's all stuff you don't have to say anymore.
Yeah, it just becomes.
So hopefully it doesn't happen. Yeah, that's right. And hopefully it doesn't happen every week. But but yeah, you're right. It becomes procedural. It's one of those things. And yeah, it's a learning experience and a growth experience. It really is. You're all survived and come out the other end. So yeah, I can't imagine. Other than the fact that you obviously the monetary issues and the time but it's all relative. It is what it is.
Yeah, and look, let's just say the petrol cost us $80 or whatever, which my father-in-law paid, by the way. He was too kind. He refused to let me pay. Yeah, he's a great guy. But for him to find someone to talk to for 4.5 hours and just say whatever he wanted and to be heard unconditionally would cost a fortune. Like an hour of therapy might cost you $250. And he got it for free. He could just talk and talk and talk. And I was genuinely interested. And you couldn't
get away if you wanted to. Couldn't get away if you wanted to, mate.
That's why they say the best time to talk to teenagers is when you've got them in the car.
I think so.
Yeah. But another great thing that's come out of it is he's coming over every week now to play music with us. And, this is not something that I could have done many years ago. Like you've seen my growth on this channel talking about music and saying, oh, no, I could never do that, to, oh, yeah, I'd like to learn to read music. And now I'm like, oh, I can read music, by the way. I've come such a long way that I can actually hang with a guy like him, whereas before it would have just been too embarrassing. But it's been really great. Like he's coming over once a week. He and Erica had this Latvian folk song that they wanted to play. So I looked it up and I got the sheet music to it. I learned how to play it on guitar. He's playing it on a cello. Erica's playing it on a recorder. And then Erica's dad's like, oh, okay, so you played it in F. Can you play it in C? I'm like, okay. And then he's just forcing me to grow. He's like, I'm trying to transpose it in my head. He's like, no, just play it by ear. You'll hear it. Like you'll hear it when it's right. And I'm like, okay. And I did, I just worked it out. I was like, okay, that this must be this sound. And it just, he's forced me to get better, essentially. So it's been really good.
Mate, look, all of that is good. I'm just thinking like the Jackson 5, like you guys, this whole family turning up and just playing these music. It's great. How good's that? But again, it's something that wouldn't have occurred. Realistically, like, I mean, you said you had a bonding moment with your father-in-law and that, it sounds like you had a bonding moment with you too. So
I agree.
The fact that, like whilst you feel good and cleansed and whatever your feelings are about that, I think he feels the same or has his feelings towards it and they're positive because, all of a sudden, I don't know the schedules you guys live, but it seems like, he's visiting more and that's good for the whole family. That's good for him. That's good for the kids. That's good for you. And it's good for Erica. So
definitely. Yeah, there's nothing better than intergenerational families getting together. It's so nice.
No, it is really good. And then playing music, like that's just another level.
Exactly. It's a total bonding experience. It is really, cool. Really lovely, Jarad. And look, as I've mentioned a few times on our past few shows that I've been going through something that I haven't been able to share exactly. It's been a great growth opportunity for me as well. I've had a lot of time with my family and I've really used this as an investment just to get better at a lot of things. So I've been working on another YouTube channel, this time with Erica, and I won't plug it here just because I don't want to, cross-contaminate things. But it's been amazing, and I've actually put my face out there on the internet for the first time. Like I'm not even on Facebook. I don't have Instagram or anything like that. So I've been a very private person, And just to get over that stumbling block of, showing myself, I guess I'm just very private. I don't like to, you know, big myself or anything. Like, even this was a bit of a challenge when you first said, "Hey, do you want to do a podcast?" I was like, "Oh, geez, that's a bit of a big deal to reveal that much about myself." But it's quite liberating being able to let go and not worry about,
Yeah.
I guess, I don't want people judging me. I don't want any hassles out there. How toxic the internet can be. But it's been a great moment of growth for me to be able to just let go and go, hey, you know what? Whatever happens, happens. I'm me. I know who I am. I'll put myself out there and the world can do whatever it wants.
There's no what ifs of, oh, I should have done this or should have done that. I think it's all a growing experience. I mean, we started out thinking, oh, we might do this podcast and having a chat about it, and then you had some little bit of work before this that you put out there, but it was all voiceover stuff and things like that. So yeah, look, you've definitely evolved. I mean, now you've got your other channel that your face is out there. We want to record this and we want to get visual with this one as well. So it's all learning and evolving. I mean, look at you now. You don't want to. Now you're sitting there with your top off, basking on the lounge and just don't care.
Well, this is for my OnlyFans page. I just wanted to,
I'm getting a sneak peek, am I? Oh, good. That's yeah, good. I feel privileged. So OnlyFans is next, right? Yeah,
exactly. Yeah.
But yeah, look, it's all and that's come from an experience or a situation that you're not. So you're dealing with it, but the way you're dealing with it is positively. You're making yourself better from going through what you're going through, and I can only commend that. I can only hope that. Well, you're seeing the light at the end of the tunnel, or you're seeing light within the tunnel. Like, you're not even looking at the end of the tunnel. I think you're seeing light around you. Like, you're, stopping to smell the roses, all that sort of stuff. Like, you're actually making the best of a situation rather than looking forward and going, this will be over soon. You're going, oh, wow, look what's around me. Look what I can do to make myself and my family and all the situation better. So that's another level as far as I'm concerned.
Thanks, Jarad.
I think that's an amazing mindset to have when going through, some issues that not everyone would like to be going through.
Thanks, Jarad. That means a lot. And look, I haven't even thought about it like that. I guess that's just how I am naturally. I want to be alive, And to me, being alive means living. It's doing things. It's not sitting around moping. And that's not to say that, I've got an issue with anyone who's going through something difficult and they don't handle it the way I do. But, there's only so much inaction we can take. You've got to do something, and it's totally okay to go through all the grief that you need to go through, to, punch a pillow or whatever it is you need to do, go through that emotional unfolding. For me, I'm surrounded by too much good stuff. I live in a beautiful country. I've got a great family. Well, I've got some time. I may as well enjoy it.
Yep. No, that's such a good outlook and mindset to have. That'll teach you your future, you may go through some other things and they'll teach you. Look, and your kids are watching. You don't realize how much your kids are watching, and your partner and all that sort of stuff. That's all. I mean, it inspires me a little bit too. Like to look at things when you have these moments, to look at what's around rather than what you still look forward, but you also, there's a lot around that you can probably grab onto that will help you through what you're going through.
Look, this is going to sound a bit crazy and it's a bit off-brand for the two gentlemen, but one of the reasons why I'm positive is because I haven't died yet. Okay, I've never died, right? Kind of true for everybody listening to this show right now and everybody who's still alive. And it sounds crazy, but if you just twist it like that and think about it, it's like, wow, like I've always got what I've needed to get because I'm still here. So it makes me optimistic. It's like, well, things have always come through in the end. And there was this film a few years ago and he said, everything will be all right in the end. And if it's not all right, it's not yet the end. So
that's cool.
Yeah. And Erica showed me another thing, which was really sweet. It was this guy talking about how there's a rain dancer who has a 100% success record. And they're like, what? And he's like, yeah, because he keeps dancing till it rains. So the advice that
Yeah,
she
there
gave
you
me
go.
was just keep dancing. And
Yeah.
I thought, wow, that's a really good way to look at it. Just keep dancing.
I feel like that's the finish of the show. That's just like something. Just keep dancing. All right, see you later. But no, we've still got some time. But yeah, look, it's so true. And it's I'm getting all these thoughts now as we're talking. Experiencing what's in front of you, experience the situation, like taking in what's around you. But yeah, just keep dancing. That's a great one. I like that, and it just makes me happy.
Well, my wise friend Jared Weston once said, experience the experience.
Yeah, there you go.
And I agree with
I
that
did
very
say
much. And
that.
I'm looking at what I'm going through at the moment. It's a whole big thing. It's not just one little thing that happened and therefore I've got to focus on that. It's like life is huge. So
Yeah.
focus on the time I've got with my family, focus on the opportunities I've got, focus on
Mm.
all the great things that I want to learn and I've got time to learn. And yeah, like I said, I've been training in martial arts again, which has been a huge thing for me. I've been playing music with my father-in-law. I'm swimming every day. I'm getting relatively fit. And I've started a whole new YouTube channel where I've shown my face, and so is Erica. So that's a huge deal. That's a lot of growth
Mm.
in the past few months.
And I did mention, like light at the end of the tunnel, all that sort of thing. But you think about like when you do get to the end of this tunnel of this challenge that you're going through, what sort of person is going to come out the other end? So
Yeah.
I think, a stronger person and all the other good words of a person will come out through that tunnel after you get through whatever you're getting through. So you've grabbed onto things and learnt and taken those experiences to create, I would say almost not a different person, but a more learned person. I don't know, something. I just think you'll come out better off, in my
Yeah.
opinion. Well, that's
Thanks,
what I can
Jared.
see. So with that positive mindset, I think that'll help. So I can only, like you can't tell people, just be positive while they're going through problems. But I guess all you can say is just look around. There's and I do, the thing you did say about was a little bit sort of out there about, oh well, I'm not dead yet. That's the hardest. We're all, if we're here, we can adjust. We're all so good at adjustment. Like you just got to give ourselves the opportunity to do it. So yeah, the hard part is actually being here.
Yeah.
We've conquered that. We're here. We're still here. We can adjust. We can shift. We can do whatever we need to do. So I think you're onto something there. It was a bit of a hit when you said it, but when it sunk in, it sort of makes sense.
Yeah, and that was the biggest lesson I learned from watching the recent Soccer World Cup, that there were so many games that I saw anyway, where there was a team down by 2-0 and they came back and won, or 1-0 and they came back and won very late, like at the death, maybe in injury time, that sort of thing. And of all sports, football, Carl, is the one where, it's so hard to get that goal. With other sports, it's easier to score. Basketball, it's 100 points
Yeah.
a game or whatever it is. But in
Mm.
football, it's so difficult. But if you're alive, you've got a chance. And it really taught me that, what, the clock was still ticking. So these teams were still alive. They still had a chance. I mean, down 4-0, you're dead at that point. So forget about it.
Mm.
But down 2-0 even, they're still alive. And so where there's life, there's hope.
Yeah.
And it's funny. That's the lesson I took away from it. Not that Messi's the GOAT or anything like that. I took away that if you're alive,
and you still call it soccer.
yeah, I'm so sorry, Carl. But yeah, if you're still alive, you can just keep going and you can switch up your tactics. And that's what you've got to do. You've got to switch tactics. That didn't work. Okay, get a shot on goal by doing this. Sometimes, there are people out there that shoot once and they score. There are other teams that shoot 17 times on goal and they don't score a single one. It happens. But just keep dancing.
I like it.
Thanks, Jared. Thank you to everybody for joining us. I hope whatever you're going through, you get some great growth out of it. Whether you're going through something difficult or you're coasting through life at the moment. Jared said it's hard to have this mindset when you're going through it, and it's hard to tell someone that, they should be positive when they're going through it. So maybe when we're not going through it, when we've got that opportunity to learn, when we're feeling good and everything's going well for us, maybe that's the time that we need to invest in, hey, let's get ready for crisis. So, you don't want to train to fight someone in the middle of a fight. You want to train when, you're growing up and you've got an opportunity to develop skills. So when you're not in a moment of crisis, maybe use that as a time to invest in your personal growth and your mindset.
I can't follow that, as usual. Thank you. I like how you said, as Jarad said in there. So it made me sound like I thought of all of that, but I did not.
Well, you did. You inspired that thought, Jarad. You really did.
Yeah,
because like you said, it's hard to do it in the moment. And you don't want to tell someone when they're in the moment of crisis, do you? You want to tell them when everything's going well and they've got that chance to make a conscious choice and go, yeah, look, I should probably focus on this because that's a weakness of mine. You go away in pre-season to work on things, don't you? You can't do that necessarily in the middle of a game. You need a whole year to plan for that.
Yeah, and it's like you saying, I'll get a jack one day.
Yeah.
Like you should have got the jack when your tire was healthy and
exactly.
You could drive to the shops and drive to any shop you wanted and pick the jack. But we wait until the crisis, and then it's like, oh, how am I going to get a jack? And I can't do this, and
exactly.
It's all about, it's all about doing it while you can. So look at that. That just married in well.
What a life lesson. But by the way, I just want to give a shout out to someone. Tori, we were meant to meet up when I was on holidays and we didn't. So Tori's the person I mentioned way back at the beginning of our show. And I said, you know what? If we lived in the same area, we'd be friends. And I haven't seen her since. But I told her I'd give her a shout out, and the last one I forgot. So there you go, Tori.
Good on you.
Thanks to everybody else for joining us. We'd love to hear from you. So please get in contact with us. Send us a text to say hello. Give us a shout on Facebook or Instagram or Twitter. We're here for you. Thank you so much. Thanks, Jarad.
Thanks, mate. See ya.